It's in tomorrow, I think. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. Are we up? It says drop frame 0, Wi-Fi live. I think I've done my bit. Silence, but whatever, I can tell. Here we are. I think we're up. How old is he, Teiko-san?
91.
Ah, okay. Yeah, fair enough, okay.
But he's bored every day. He wants to do something he can do.
Absolutely. So, too far, he can't come here. He's in Kawagoe? Okay, in Kawagoe?
違う、東京のシティの方にいます。もともと神戸にいたんですけど。
This is what? This is your mother's father, is that?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, see you tomorrow. Thank you. Did you remember to get paper ready for tomorrow?
いや、もういっぱい入ってます。
I'm joking.
あとノートにも書いてある。
I heard.
It's not your job, so
Whatever.
I
It's okay.
told everybody.
It was. I was the tanto on Wednesday, so whatever.
いや、まあちょっとこれから我々がやるようにノートに書きましたので、どうも。あ、ごめん。
Oh!
ごめん。こっち違った。
はい。Well, we got some people here. Good morning, guys. Yes, it's a face tonight, so better light. So better light, I guess. We still have there they go, kids are leaving. We have better light, but we're not out of the woods on this thing yet. The camera, as we found over the past couple of days, I've been doing it in the morning the last couple of days, the camera is still chasing focus like crazy. There's lots of times, just when I'm about to cut something with my knife and the focus comes it focuses on my fingernails instead of the wood. So we're not 100% yet. There goes my water bottle. Oh, so I need just a minute, guys, excuse me. I wasn't actually all set up yet, ready to go. Here we are. Okay, let me get back to this here bit by bit. The camera is still the little old handy cam, which is doing a very good job about getting in close, but it doesn't have a manual focus. It's auto or nothing. So anyway, we're killing these problems one by one. I think we've got the audio sync fixed. We've got a much better light now. Yesterday I ordered online a very heavy arm stand. At the moment the camera is hanging, you can't see it, it's hanging on one of those light things that you could put a light over your desk. It's very lightweight. It'll hold a handy cam, but that's all. So I ordered a heavy duty one yesterday. It arrived today. And for the next evolution of the stream here, we're going to try putting my Canon EOS on that heavy arm and seeing how close it will go to the carving here. Because it, of course, has much better exposure and light controls. I can run full manual, figure out a good setting and leave it so it isn't chasing all the time. And we can focus so that it focuses right on the wood once we've put the camera in a certain place. But the question is, the lenses I have, will they come in this close? And that's an open question, we'll see. But hang in there, we'll get there bit by bit. Now where am I? Am I actually in the right place on the camera? I didn't check this. There we are. Yeah, the fingernails are the real show. Yeah, right. According to lots of Redditors. Did I wash them today? I don't know. I just sharpened anyway, so. And I apologize to people who are evening viewers only for not showing up last night. I know, whatever. There's reasons and there's excuses, and sometimes the two things match and sometimes they don't. I just wasn't into it. It was a very, very long day in the shop. 4 parties. We had a great time. But there was no way I could do this kind of work after that, so I'm sorry. You guys got the short end of the stick. There we are. The focus is chasing, right? It's on my fingernails. Now, I'll wait till a little bit farther along in this stream, and I'm going to give a recap of what I've done on the last 2 streams, in the morning ones. I don't know who has seen stuff and who hasn't seen stuff, but the hair is now done. The first session was ma, but the second session this morning came out pretty well. And the goal tonight now is to finish the face. That's the mouth, teeth, nose, ear. Clear that off, and that's pretty much going to be it for tonight. It's going to take me a while though, so don't panic. Lost it, turning too much, sorry. And the YouTube thing, I've been, for it's literally for years, we've been waiting to get this haircut thing on YouTube. And I don't know now if I should take that one I did this morning and edit it down or add some voiceover and use that on YouTube. I'm really not sure. The problem is that the scale here is so small that it's difficult to see the finished thing, that curve on the finished blocks, on the finished hairs. And if I do a YouTube on this, it's going to be seen and looked at by a lot of people for a long time. And I think I'd better do a better job of it than that, Choose something that has larger hairs so that we can all see what's going on, instead of working at the very limit of visibility here. I'm turning too much tonight, but I'm sorry, all these teeth, they go round and round and round, and I've got to get each one at the right angle here. I feel like a dentist here tonight. These teeth have shape. Each one has got a line at the end. Look at this. They sloop up. Yeah, the light, it's the, the new old setup. I don't know if we can, I've got a rag here that blocks the light so you can't see it. You'll see in a minute. I don't know how much, if I take this away for a second, you see. I'll switch to the other camera. The sound goes off so you can't see it, but we'll do this with no sound. Got it? Is that my charades? I've got to put this back so that it blocks it just at that right spot for the video. So there's the idea. It's a flask with 1 liter of water inside. It's hanging from the ceiling, of course, and the light is positioned right behind it. And the story has morphed over the years about what these are for. For me, I don't need it for multiplying light. The story is that in the old days it multiplied light. And Western engravers also used this in London and stuff. And we're back in the 1700s and so before that. There's lots of illustrations and records of Western engravers using such a thing. And it seems to me that they're using a candle or whatever behind it. And the water multiplies, spreads the light so that any given light source would cover more territory. You don't get free energy, so it must have been diffused, but at least your light would cover a wider area. Now for me, that's not what it's about at all. What it is I need the strong light there, but if I have just a single light source, then what happens is the light source and my knife, I don't know if you can see it now, so let me get back in there. Dave. Where am I? Am I in the camera? So look at this now. The light is over there, and it's not. Right there, when I put the knife towards the light, there's absolutely no shadow. So if I'm carving a line here, let me try and get a line lined up. So if I'm carving a line here, I can see the line. There's no shadow. But if it was a really strong light source, the black shadow line of the knife would come down, and I can't see what I'm supposed to be carving. So that's what it is for me. For the last few weeks I've been having that ring light around the lens, which shines down and gives no shadow. So it had that benefit. But it had the negative point of being vertical light onto the block. So I can't see what we call yamatani, the valleys and mountains. Now, because it's a strong side light, I can vividly and easily see the three-dimensional aspect to this job. I'm an idiot for not getting this set up sooner. I've been trying to carve here. I know why, because I've been thinking it's a part-time job and nothing's set up and this is not my real workshop and just fool around and whatever. But I've been an idiot to try and do real work under such awful circumstances. And we still don't know what to do, This is still sort of a, quote, temporary setup for me. I'm in the back room of the shop, Homeless peripatetic carver. Nice. Get this thing sharpened. She just works so nice, Right. Questions. Good day. Yeah, the light's a nice tone as well too. Although again, that's part of the camera settings. It's on its automatic thing, and I don't know what it's doing. So it certainly couldn't handle that bright LED, but it's handling this better. Anyway, next experiment will be putting the SLR up here to see where we get with it. I'll try that tomorrow. Okay, that's the inside. Let's go on the outside and then attack the teeth. Where do we start from? Seems to have stopped. Do we have stream problems? Stream is showing green at this end. I'm not sure. Although my OBS icon has got a little red dot on it up in the menu bar. I think I'm okay. I'll just continue. I'm showing no drop frames. I'm showing okay. I'm showing full Wi-Fi. Not sure how much I can muck with while I'm doing this job. Oh, I see. I'm hitting the microphone cord at the back. That's what's wrong. Excuse me. All this is done, the stress relief in place. The main bulk of wood has been carved away. So whenever I cut this now, it's the unneeded wood is totally free to move. There's no stress on the lines that are staying. Oh, a bit too deep there. So these leftover lines, you can see the walls of this thing. This one too, the bottom lip. They're smooth and flat and sharp. There's been absolutely no stress. Yeah, the mic on the other scene, I know, it just needs time to get me to set it up. I know, as part of having the synchronization problem fixed, I turned off all other mic sources. So yeah, I could go back into the settings here and figure out that with that other scene, when I use the laptop camera to turn on the audio for that one, it's in there. So I'm sorry, it's not that I'm too, well, whatever. I just haven't had time to mark on it. I was really more concerned about the synchronization. So yeah, it's in there and I can turn it back on, I think. Or set that scene to use the iMac camera and then the audio from the video adapter. So it's in there. I'll have a go at it. So many things to do. Oh, there's something else I should mention on here. Ettone. Back in the spring sometime, a Japanese TV company came around and filmed us, and then had plans changed or whatever, and didn't end up broadcasting the resulting program. It was supposed to be like 20-30 minutes long about us here at Mokuhankan and me. And it got just sort of shelved. And they never told us it was cancelled. They just said, look, we don't know what we're going to do with it. So they put it aside. And we've been in touch with them since then. It isn't a totally cancelled project. We've been in touch with them. They were going to broadcast it. And we just said, look, let us know so we can, let our fans know and stuff. And the girl who has been my contact there has always said the same thing. I'm sorry, we can't let you know, because if we do that, you will tell everybody. And then if it turns out that there's a missile problem or something, it'll be cancelled and everybody will be angry. Now, I've told her, we can maybe put the word plan. There's a planned broadcast. But they're paranoid about this, so anyway, they haven't told us. So last night, Tuesday night, was it last night? Monday night? I forget, whatever, last night. I don't even know what freaking day it is. Last night, she calls me. I recognize her voice, and she says, we've decided the broadcast is all arranged. So I get my pencil ready. Good, please tell me what it is, and we'll tell our Facebook fans and stuff. And she says, well, it starts in like 25 seconds. She's just telling me at the moment that it's teeing up at the commercial. So lady, thanks, whatever. She's just got to follow their rules, whatever. So I quickly splashed a message to our staff at least, just to go and see it. And then a half an hour or so, I got an email from some people living overseas who had been here for a print party, and they were in the program. They had seen it. The TV company had let them know about it. but not me. Anyway, long story short, they've put an excerpt of it, a 10-minute excerpt from it, on their website, which will be available for about a week or so. It's all in Japanese. It's not an English TV program. It's a Japanese program. And I don't have the URL right in front of me right now, but if somebody can zip over to the Mokuhankan Facebook page for me, just look for Mokuhankan on Facebook. I just posted about it yesterday with the URL of this TV company's website where the program is on, or this excerpt from the program is on, for the next X number of days. And it's a little glimpse to our world. Those of you who haven't been here, you can see our shop, samples from a print party, hear me blather in Japanese about the work. Do I need to count to 10? Has somebody got that URL already? This is so much fun, you know. I can get used to this. Siri, what's the URL of yesterday's TV program? Twitch stream. You guys are better than City. Heads down. Hands down. Speaking of print parties, I don't need to check it right now. It's a reservation for a party, but it's not for tonight. I know that. The system doesn't work like that. So, okay, there we go. I do believe the mouth is ready, and our first pass at the mouth is ready. I've left some of the lines a little bit, on the thick side. And this lady will get another shave after test printing. Okay, what's up next? Nose. And as usual, as with any curve, we do the inside first and then the outside. I did the mouth here. I did the inside round part first and then the outside. I broke that rule with the little teeth. There's a limit to what you can do when they're all inside. But the basic idea of a circular curve shape is you do the inside first and then the outside. And the reason is, it's embarrassing to admit it, but outside curves are easy, inside curves are tough. So if I did the outside first, that leaves me with no wiggle room. But if I do the inside curve first, if I'm a little bit off here and there, then you can catch that when you're doing the outside part. So let's go down. I've got some video from the 1950s of old carver Ogura Hanbei cutting an ukiyo-e nose and eyes. And I have watched it 5,000. That's a low estimate. Times. And it's an exaggeration. Every time I watch it, I learn something else. That's not true. But just watching it and watching it and watching it. And as the years have gone by, you pick up a bit here, you pick up a bit there. You get a bit more of a sense of how this is supposed to work. And his tool, I would die for a knife blade like that. It's fantastic. I think we've had this sort of conversation before. What tools are good, what tools are bad. And I've said, in general, the hardware we get these days, hamono, what's the word? Whatever, blades and stuff, the metalsmith thing. It's not so bad because it's not a question of just printmakers. There's people out there making plain blades for carpenters. There's any manner of metalworking going on. So it's not like a dead art here in Japan. It's very much alive. The place where we get our blades is, of course, not just a place for printmakers. So we still get reasonably good steel, but having said that, they don't know anything about the actual kind of shape that we would really like to have. So we're getting a generic kind of blade here. And the thing I would most like to have, which they can't give me, is I would like to have these blades hollow ground. Can I get a side track here? It's a two-part. I should be careful. Where are we? I think you can see it. There's the top. It's soft steel, which I've scratched up because yesterday I filed it off to make it thinner. It's soft steel laminated to hard steel. The hard steel's on the bottom, because that's the part when we sharpen it. That's the the cutting edge of this thing. The actual blade needs the hard steel. So the hard steel is this part on the back. Let me switch to one of my bigger tools for a minute to try and explain this next concept. This is a big tool here. This is, I'll better zoom out a bit, I guess. Oops, zoom out. This is a chisel, obviously, a big chisel. It's similar to the kind of woodworkers use. Again, this is not specifically a wood block printmaking chisel. It's got two kinds of steel. It's the softer steel on the back, laminated to a harder steel. And what this is hollow ground. That's the top that has the shape they want. They've learned what shape gives it the best physical strength. But on the back side, it's hollow ground. And I think you can see what I mean there. There's an actual, it's taken with a grindstone. It's ground out in a hollow. And when I first saw these things, I'm thinking like, what is going on? How do you do this? As this blade gets sharpened and sharpened and sharpened, it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. And right now, that shiny part you're seeing is good hard steel, and it makes a nice sharp edge. But after I've ground back 3 or 4 or 5 more millimeters, give me another couple of years at this, there will no longer be enough steel here to make a flat edge. And it's okay, what you do is you put it on an anvil and you hammer from the top and it pops it down flat. But the deal about this hollow ground is when you sharpen the bevel side first. We get a good edge by sharpening the bevel on our sharpening stone. And it leaves a burr at the top, but we're cutting off metal from the top. We never really cut off metal from the bottom. So no problem. Sharpen, 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 stone number 1, stone number 2, stone number 3. And to finish off, the thing goes flat down on a finishing stone, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It pulls that burr off and it leaves the back flat. When I say the back flat, I don't mean the hollow ground part, I mean the part we need. And if it wasn't hollow ground, what happens is you never get that quite flat, and this thing rocks around, and you don't get the sharpening at the edge. But because it's hollow ground, you end up sharpening you can see how thin it is, the area all around. That's the only part that touches the sharpening stone, and it stays bang flat on the stone, and your edge gets a razor sharp edge. Plain blades, whatever, 6 inches wide, you name them, they're hollow ground because it focuses the sharpening on the edge. In the old days, and even when I was still here, when I came here, these little thin blades, 4.5 millimeters wide, were all hollow ground. And there's a bit of a scratch in this one. I think they've pretended to hollow ground it by just whatever. No idea what they've done. It's not ground at all. It's just a rough little scratch in it. But if this was hollow ground, we have the same thing. When I'm doing my final strokes, the sharpening action is focused right on the tip. And maybe if we had, enough tool things set up here, I could perhaps do it myself. Get the blades, get a grindstone with a really tiny wheel of the right size and grind it myself. I guess that's what I should do. Instead of just complaining, just shut up and do it yourself. It's not so easy though, you grind it a bit too much at the wrong speed, get the blade a bit too hot, and bang, you've lost your temper, you've lost your sharpness. This is why we here at this workshop and other printmaking workshops, I know we never use mechanical sharpening aids. There's no, I don't know what they call it, spinning wheels and stuff you put the blade on. We never ever use that stuff. It's so easy to burn your steel because these tools are so small. I don't know if you know, I know what we see. A nose like this is made up of 2 strokes. Are we in the camera view? When he brushed it, his brush came down and brushed and finished here in a lift up. And then the brush started here, boom, came around and blobbed as he lifted off. It gives a nostril effect of the nose. It's 2 strokes. So there's a break here. So this is not one brush stroke going good, 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 good. Some shape. We want to catch that dab where the brush hit the paper. A little curve at the top. Doesn't quite want to come out. I think I just lost the tip of the knife, I think. Let me finish this for a sec. Trying to dig that out. I just lost the tip. Hang on. Get this out here. Let's have a look. Yep, it's gone. Can we see this? Dum dum dum. If I get the light right. I'm trying to find the light so that it shines into the camera. I don't know if you can see it. It's too far away, you can't see it. The very tip, you can see actually the fact that I can scrape it like this on my finger. If it was a fully perfect tip, it wouldn't do that. It would catch on my skin. But the fact that I can move it like this now down my finger. Very tip is gone. We got to do the eyes next. So what I'm going to do, I don't need that tip for the outside of this nose. So I'm going to just use this for a minute. It's still very sharp. It's extremely sharp. Just the finest acute angle on the tip is gone. So I'm going to use this for this. Then we'll see some sharpening. Are there questions? I'm sorry. I don't know. If somebody's asking about the price of stuff, I know the knife I'm using here right now is not expensive at all. Not at all. I know the handle is just a standard handle I got years ago. We've got a bunch of them lying around. I've chopped it up and shaped it to fit my own style. But the blades, we buy them, I don't know, when's the last time we got a batch of them? Got a dozen or so. Maybe I paid I don't know, $150, $200, I'm not sure, for about 12 of them. I don't remember exactly. So maybe for the blade here, it's about maybe $15, something like that. If that's an estimate, I'm not too far off. And how long would it last me, the blade? You know, we sharpen and move it up, sharpen, move it up, sharpen, move it up. It's not a lifetime tool, it's a tool that lasts some weeks, some days. For me, it's lasted a few years because I haven't been carving for the past couple of years. But if I were doing this every day, like recently I am, I don't know, can I put a number on it? If I was doing this every day, the blade would last, I don't know, a month or something, I guess, I don't know. So whatever that is, 15 bucks, 20 bucks a month. It's not a staggering expense at all. It's a disposable item, you know. Sharpen it and dispose it. It just gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. When I break for sharpening in a minute, I'll show you. I'll look in my drawer and pull out some of the ones that are finished. Hang on a minute here. I'll finish this nose first. It is still wicked sharp though, just it's missing the little tip. Stupid wires at the back again. Sorry guys. What can I do with these? Just hang them up out of the way or something. Okay, I'll be careful about this. I'll keep quiet here because I got to get this line straight. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I'm okay. Face is always dangerous. Everything's so close to each other. We had that problem this morning. The eyebrow and the hairs over here. This is old-fashioned territory for me. When I did that poet series, you know, everybody's got a face and they were all drawn exactly the same way. This is very similar. So this is sort of this is where I've been 100 times before, carving a nose and eyebrows like this. Okay, looks good. All right, we have a nose, eyes, and okay, let's do the ear first too before I do the sharpening, because again, going around this corner, it's okay. Last night's hair. Oh, not last night, yesterday morning. What was it? Yesterday morning. So. Now that hair is carved on this block, it's a different creature. You know, before I'd be sort of banging it around and grabbing it, throwing it on the desk, mucking around with it. But it is now much, much more delicate. Pick it up the wrong way, grab your fingers in the wrong place, tap it with something, and it's game over. It's a much more delicate creature now. Some of the staff, even when I've not been here, they've been picking it up and showing people and stuff like this, and they have to understand now that those days are over. Once the hair is carved, this is a very delicate object. Okay, looking good. Let's get rid of this so I can unify this corner. Can't follow the conversation, I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening there. Something's wrong with the stream again? What am I doing? Okay, to the outside of the ear. do a bit of stress relief on this one. Question some. Just give me a minute to finish this here. Hang on a sec. Then I'm going to break for sharpening, so just a moment here. Okay. I can get away with stuff that I wouldn't be able to do if it was a nicely sharpened blade. If I had a real tip on it, I couldn't do this. Okay, there we go. Let's zoom out just a bit here, see what's going on. Questions. Okay, there was a sharpening. I mean, there was a question here. Let me grab that first. I bet you it's a question about sharpening. Oh, a long question. Sorry, any books to recommend? It's not the thing for this, sir. I'll write back to you privately later. I'm sorry. It's a book recommendation question, not to deal with here. Okay, we got to sharpen. At least we have a touch-up sharpening to do. Now, the thing is, I'm all set with this thing. What should I do here? Let me get this out of the way. Now, how far back do I need to? Maybe I can get away with this. Let's zoom out just a bit more. That's it. That's fully out. I really don't want to move the camera because it's going to have to get back for these eyes. Let's try it. This should be enough. Okay. Maybe now we can see the broken tip. I don't know. It's going to be impossible to see this tip. Anyway, take my word for it. There's a bit missing at the very tip of this. So what I need to do really now is just dress this thing. I don't need to go back. I'm using a 400 for when it really is broken off. Bang, and I've got to pull a millimeter or so of steel off. I don't need that right now. I'm using a 1000. And what's this? Am I using modern tools like diamond stones? Absolutely. I use for the rough and the medium, I use diamonds, and for the fine one, I'm going to go to an actual normal Japanese stone. These stay flat, they cut beautifully smooth, they cut sharp on this particular kind of steel. The natural ones have to live in a bucket of water, and when I was living in Ome and carving every day, that's fine. I had my bucket, I had my water. But since coming here to Asakusa, I carve, well, not recently, I'm doing it every day now, but I was carving just once every month or something. So the stones would dry out, split, crack. So for common sense, I'm using these now, and man, are they wonderful. So we've got a touch-up job here. Let me change my glasses. I'm still using mud though. Yeah, people have been complaining about this, and I get it. I know you don't need mud on a diamond stone. I'm not going to argue the point. I'm sure it can be done probably totally dry, I guess. I don't know. But by using my own traditional method, a bit of mud here, this is a Nagara stone which is dissolving bit by bit on the diamond stone. The mud just feels so good to me, and it feels so good to the steel. So I'm fooling myself for what? I don't know. Am I on the camera? Okay. Moderate pressure. My finger is pushing on the tip of this thing, and I'm trying as much as possible to make the elbow motion that pushes this straight rather than rock. And for years and years and years I rocked, and now I'm not so bad at keeping it straight. Moderate to full pressure here because I want to cut some steel. Let's take a look. And my tip has been restored. Has it? Yes, my tip is restored and the shape is the same, but because I used pretty heavy pressure on this, it's scored, it's got scratches. So I'm staying on the same stone with a much lighter pressure. And it's probably not changing the steel, not changing the shape of anything, but it's bit by bit removing those scratches. Get a bit more water on there. Softly. For years I didn't get this. This is one more of the things that Ito-san just in that quick single session with the TV people showed me. I had never thought of that before. Knife on stone equals a certain kind of sharpening. No, knife on stone with pressure change will give you all kinds of different effects. Push down hard, take it easy, take it soft. I think of myself as a smart guy, but I had never actually thought of that before. You can work on a stone delicately, or you can work on a stone vigorously. Okay, we're done with the diamond stuff. Water. Where's my water? Now this is essential in this one. This stone now it's just like a piece of marble. It's hard, it's flat. If I rubbed, or even just with this water, if I rub the tool on it now, it's not going to do anything. It's like rubbing a piece of metal across a flat marble floor or something. It doesn't do anything. We need some of that mud. And there's a few different things happening here too. Unlike the diamond stone, this stone will wear out. It develops grooves, it gets, flat in the center. Okay, here we go. We don't need much of that mud, just something, here we go. There's no burr on this thing, so I'm safe to just go straight ahead here. It looks so easy, the part that you can't see, of course, is the muscle control to keep that bevel flat on this stone. There's no way I'm going to try and explain. I can't. What am I going to say? It has to stay flat. And it is flat. Now the back, this is easy, of course. Pop. camera. And here's the last deal. Again, this is not an invention of mine. This is shown to me by a number of carvers. It's flat. Pick it up at about this much angle and just draw it towards yourself. Maybe once, twice. If you don't do that, what you've got left on the blade is the absolute perfect fine raw edge, and it just crumples as soon as you put it into the wood. So I've put the ever slightest bevel. We'll get the microscope on this or something one day, I don't know. Can we catch the light on it? There's the back. And what there is at the very tip of the back, there's just the ever slightest little thing that catches the light that I can see. And the edge is not safe. It's sharp, but it doesn't crumple when it hits wood. Whatever, what can I say? This isn't the place for a total tutorial. It's just, there we are, we've sharpened it. Let me have a look through the lens here. I think we could have gone a bit farther, you know, with that 1000 grit stone. I think she's good to go for that eye. Let's see. Okay. Junk away. Board back. Now I've got to find a viewport. Now let's try and get the camera back in the right place. Coming down, move the camera up a bit. Oops, move the camera down a bit. Zoom in a bit more. We're going to lose focus at some point here. Is that going to do it? Let's give this a try. I think I mentioned before that somebody, one of the older carvers, was telling me, or I read it somewhere or something, and I think this is apocryphal. I don't think it's real. He said they waited for the eyes until everything else was finished, and then put the eyes in and made the thing come alive. And you know, it sounds like a nice story, and I think that comes from something like Hokusai's painted some giant painting with the last few strokes. Plop, plop, in come the eyeballs, and everybody's like, oh my God, it's alive. I can't see a carver specifically having that kind of a method of operation. You know, those guys weren't so romantic or thoughtful or whatever. They were just journeymen. Get the job done and move on. But I don't know. The reason I'm doing it last year is because I've saved the face for last because I needed the practice. You know, I've been off for such a long time. So I needed practice mucking around down on that seaweed and in the different parts and octopus dots and whatever. I'm feeling much more confident about my ability to use this knife now than I was a few weeks ago. So this is last for me because of practice, not because of any out of the way, bevel it up once, twice. There's two separate brush strokes for all of these eyes. The top of the eye is one stroke, it has a start and a finish. And then the bottom one is thinner, it's always thinner. I don't know if you can see it in this, tracing. And maybe I didn't even catch it in the tracing, but I've learned just how to do this. The top of the eye is denser, and the bottom of the eye is as delicate as you can make it. Let's shape the ball. That side. We got a bit of an angle on this side. She's got a bit of a squint. She's got her eyes squeezed closed. And this is a scary part to it. The wrong angle here one tiny bit too deep or too strong, the wrong angle here changes her expression. When I was doing that poet series, I had to learn this by experience. I screwed up so many of them. When I say screwed up, I mean whatever. See what I mean? There's a curve to it here at the front, and it's straight up and down at the back with a tiny curve. It gives her not a squint in a bad sense. She's got her eyes squeezed shut, you know. We know why. It's my job not to screw this up. Hokusai gave it to us. It's my job not to screw it up. Out she comes. Now, relief cut at the top. And relief cut at the bottom while I'm here. Damn camera, is it still zooming in and out? Try and keep my fingers out of it? What can I do? If I put the eye right in the middle of the field of view, does that help then? Is that where it's focusing? If I put the eye right in the middle, let's just try this without my knife. Put my fingers in. When does it jump focus? If I do that, it's focusing on my fingers, but I can maybe do anything, but if I keep, like I said, if I keep my fingers back out of the way. Let's try this a bit more. Let's move this thing right to the left. Let's do a fake cut here. I'm going to do this in a minute. I'm out of my own view here. Let's do a fake. I'm not going to cut here. I'm going to do a fake. Is it staying in focus? My fingers are out of there. I know there is no opt-out on this camera. I'm sorry. There's no manual focus on this camera. I know if earlier in the stream we were talking about this, within a few days there will be a new camera on board here, if I can get it to work, a Canon EOS, which has total manual control. And we'll try and move this up to the next level. I'm sorry, at the moment we are with what we are. I think this is better if I keep my fingers out of there. And please don't worry that you're going to miss something that's never going to happen again. I'm in this, we're going to be streaming. I'm carving for many years to come. So this is not your last chance to see. Was that better? Did we manage to avoid the focus? I gotta tell you, that tip's gone again. I lost it there somewhere along that last line. I gotta think about, my own attention span here, There it is, the little bit of metal in there. There's a little tiny bit of metal down there, a triangle of metal. This streaming stuff is all very well, but, whatever. How much can I keep my concentration here? Now we're okay. We've done the inside of the eyes. That's what I needed that tip for. So we're on the outside of the eye. It's okay. But it's gone again. We're back to a flat surface. Oh, I've got one more eye to do though. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay, just ignore the focus. Hey. Just let me get this done here. Let's first cut the end off this. I think we have a nice eye here. It's hard to tell at this enlargement. We won't know until I do some test printing, but I think we've got her expression here. We've got the right amount of, what's the word? Scrunch in her eye. Dave, don't muck around too much till you get test printing here. Hi. Now, the other one. Honestly speaking, I can't see what's in the front of it there. There's no help at all. Maybe something similar. There is some white at the front. There's white at the back. She seems to be looking pretty much straight ahead. The amount of white on each side is even. The amount of white on each side is even. Let's try this. First, let's cut the top side. Look with the wires again. In we go. And out we go. This is much narrower than the other eye. It's a distance. We've got her face is not straight on. Let's try that. Let's try that. This is shorter. I don't think we need stress relief here. We're okay on this. Talking about the division of labor there, nay. So we don't have any documentation on how it was done in the old days. You know, nobody wrote down what happened in workshops, of course. There was no interest in such things. But going by what we know from living memory, you know, absolutely, it was a division of labor within a workshop. And it makes sense, you know, that the top gun who could do stuff like eyes and stuff, you wouldn't want him wasting time. Not wasting time, but you wouldn't want him fooling around doing jobs that the kids could do, you know. So of course there was, you know, it was split up. But I don't know how formalized that was, or when, you know, I mean, the work situation must have changed day by day with the different jobs that came in and the different priorities, and I'm sure it was very flexible. And the top guy would do, you know, the top guys would do anything. It wasn't that I am above that and I'm not going to do clearing work. I'm sure that's not what it was. They did whatever was necessary to get the work out of the door, you know. They would have been really fast at the clearing, so I'm sure they would have done lots of that too. But like I said, we don't know. Some of the guys I spoke to, printers, I don't have any knowledge about the carvers, but the printers who talk about their workshops, this is the immediate post-war Olympic era, 1960s and stuff, when there was a ton of work and they just had to get so much out the door as fast as possible. And the way the publishers tried to get it done was they started to pay a bit more for the jobs, you know, because if all the printers in town are busy and you've got work you want to get into the market, you know what you got to do? You got to pay more. And if you've got a workshop where there's 3 or 4 or 5 printers working, there's 2 ways to pay them. They can be paid salary or they can be paid per job. And paying per job makes sense when one guy starts one print and does it start to finish, but that's not the way it was done. A lot of it was done, you know, somebody would do the background color, someone does a key block, someone does another block. So how do you pay the guys when they're paid on piecework, but they've only done one color on a particular print? How do you figure that one out? I had no idea how it was done at all. Until somebody explained it one day. He said what they did was the master would come in, he'd get the quote on the job from the publisher. You know, the publisher and the master would work out what this job is supposed to cost. The master knows his crew, he knows his guys, he knows what he's got. He wants to keep as much money in his pocket as he can, pay as little as he can to the guys out there. You know, it's all in balance. So after the cost for the job is worked out, the master brings the blocks in to the meeting where they figure out who's doing what over the next week, or, you know, whenever they had these meetings, whatever. And he puts the sample of the print on the table, and he puts the blocks on the table, and he scribbles on the top of each block. This is a set of color blocks. It's a black block, a blue block, a pink block, whatever. And some are wide, deep printing areas that might need 5 minutes to take an impression, and some are tiny lip areas that might need 2 seconds to take an impression, whatever. And the workshop master writes a number on each piece of wood, 2, 5, 20, whatever. And that's the price he's willing to pay per sheet to get that color done. That little tiny lip area that just needs a bang, 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 click, bang, click, bang, click. He'll pay 2 sen or 2 yen or whatever it was in the money of the day. And a big wide background that needs a heavy guy who's going to take time to do it, he's going to pay 20 yen for that. He's worked it all out. So the guys then, in order of seniority, the most experienced guys pick, I'll want that block, I'll take this block, thank you. Always keeping in mind that, you know, it's no good putting all the heavy hard jobs on the little kid at the end of the line because he can't do it. You've got to keep in mind who's available for the jobs. But that's how the jobs got costed out. The guys got paid. These are the people who aren't salaried workers. The guys got paid. So that meant, of course, to get the money they needed to live, they just had to work as fast as possible. And it's like a kind of arms race. You know, the master of the workshop knows how fast they could work or should work. And they just sit down and get going. If those guys could see the way we work upstairs, these girls just sitting there yawning and chatting and doing this and doing that and doing this, they would just shake their heads in astonishment. That's not a workshop, that's a hobby farm, you know. It goes back to that video with Ito-san, you know. I get what he was saying, you know. I wasn't insulted, I'm still not insulted. And at the end of that video I said, no, it's not a hobby, I'm a craftsman. And I get it, the words are there. But hontoni, by the standards of what those guys did and the amount of work they produced, we are just fooling around. And I accept that. And I don't bow my head in shame. I do a lot of stuff every day. No reason to be ashamed of what we do. But man, could those guys put out some product. Okay, I think we are here. I think I've cut everything on this block that I can now cut, except her Tito. And that's going to happen off camera, as we know. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Let's have a recap here. No, it's not the worst thing that's been on Twitch, but I have been simply told by somebody who does have knowledge of the way the Twitch people are going to look at this, specifically checking this account. I've been told that this is not going to fly. That I got away with it so far and it's okay, but that certainly once we start printing and this paper is exposed and look at the next one and look at the next one and look at the next one, the image will be there in all of our faces every time. I've been told that that's not going to fly. And as I've said, you know, I'm not going to argue the point. Twitch is a platform. It's not my platform. This is not about me. There are young people out there. This is a difficult image. It's okay. We'll fly with it. I'll take video. It'll be on YouTube. But I won't be able to live every step of this. We've had a good run at this. Let's see what I did this morning. So there we are, just to try and recap what happened this morning. These hairs, I did the hair this morning. Yesterday morning I did that part of the hair. This morning, this part of the hair. And it came out not too badly. It's very hard to show at this scale what happens. But it came out very well. So there we have it. Now what's the schedule? And I've got to put a question mark on what's going to happen now. My next job, aside from continuing this, my next job now is I have to get a gift print up and running really soon now. It's the last week of September. Gift season opens maybe the second week of October. And we need a really interesting print this year because it's been 2-3 years since we've done a new one. So tonight I'll be looking through my books, looking through my print collection, trying to come up with something that will be a dynamite gift selection. Get it pasted down and ready for carving tomorrow so that on tomorrow's stream I can sit here and start carving it. That's my job tonight. So plan A, if all goes well, I'll be carving a gift print over the next couple of days. Plan B, if I can't get that figured out, there is work, there is interesting work, and actually I should show you that right now. Because what else, let me zoom back out, something else special happened today. The young man, John-san, who is carving the first of our boss fights prints, brought me today the first stage finished key block for the first of our new boss fights prints. I say first stage carved because it's not finished. And if I can try and explain without getting in too much verbal trouble. If you've seen the picture on Jed's Instagram or our Facebook page or in the Kickstarter campaign, you'll know who this is. This is a character, and the carving of the lines is finished. The sword being plunged into the robot-like creature, most of the lines are done. There's places like this, if you have a view of the original image, there's all kinds of colors and patterns that go in here. That's fine, that's later, that's not on the key block. But there is one area that has given us real pause, and that's the area on here. You see it as brown splashes. This is sort of blood and gore pouring out of the machine, and it's orange and red And the blood areas are not outlined in black, but because they have to be cut away from the blue block and the gray block, and they have to be cut onto the yellow block and orange block and red block, we need to know where they are. So what we've carved at the moment a blob, which will be where those blood splashes are. It's on the key block. It's not going to be black, but just bear with me. It's on the key block. We will now do our color transfers to set up all the colors, the blue of his uniform, the skin tone, the gray, the red, whatever. We'll make those color transfers with this stuff in place, so we will be able to see those areas. Then, after the color blocks are carved, we do a first rough printing, still with this, and see if we've got everything lined up. And if it turns out that we got the color blocks matched properly, we pick up the orange area from this, we pick up the minus blue from this. If we got it right, he comes back here again and takes this area off. We carve it away. So this is called muda bori, wasteful carving, because it's going to be totally carved away and thrown away. But we need it for this intermediate stage of transferring the information. Where's that blood on all the color blocks, or many of the color blocks? And it's two places. It's blood splash where the sword goes in, and it's one of the patterns on the robot itself. And what Jed has done is he's drawn the grayish robot with sort of pattern cracks where we look inside it to see the glowing lights inside. And these again are in two colors, orange and red, but they have no outlines. So same thing. This is mudabori, waste carving. It's just shown, it's here to allow for that information to be transferred. Someone says, how many color blocks? I do not have an idea. We're looking at, I don't know. We did do a count when he first gave it to me. I don't remember what it is. It's something like 6 pieces of wood, both sides, and some pieces of wood have multiple areas carved. No, it's 7 both sides. So 14 color blocks, and how many color areas, I don't know. And the other thing that makes this one much more difficult than most of our heroes to date is that almost all the lines on the key block are super, super thin. Imagine a line, whatever this border line, it's like 1.5 millimeters thick. If that was the border for a color zone, then when we're cutting the color block or when we're putting the paper on, you got a bit of wiggle room. If you get it wrong, it doesn't matter because the color joint is covered by the line. But when every single line that determines color A and color B is a hairline, then everything has to be perfect. The color carving has to be perfect within those lines. The moisture control of the printer from color 1 to color 20 has to be perfect, because if it shrinks a bit, we're dead. So this whole Kickstarter campaign, this whole boss fights thing, we didn't do a Kickstarter in the sense of we need to gather your money to do this. We did the Kickstarter so that we could put Jed out on a tightrope high wire and push him across to the other side and say, here you go, people are looking at you, draw these things. And now he's drawn it and it's my turn. My workshop now goes onto our high wire, and can we walk across that thing and get to the other side without screwing this up? It's not a foregone conclusion, and that's why we did it as a big public boom bang Kickstarter. We wanted to put ourselves out on the high wire. Okay, there she is. We're underway. There's the first block. This thing is actually happening. We're having fun. We're having a ton of fun. So what you're exactly going to see here tomorrow when I come back, I don't know. It might be carving on the gift print. It might be me doing color separation work on this, getting the first, making notes and stuff like that. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll see you then. Thank you very much for following along. It's been a bit of a mixed session tonight. And we're still struggling with the tools and the lights and the focus, but I'll get there. Give me a break. I'll get there. Thank you very much, and see you tomorrow.